Hi, and welcome to the EPCC Biology Department's tutorial video on using Microsoft Teams to run the CCA presentations for faculty. The first thing you want to do before setting up the presentations in Teams is to work out with each group what date and time they will do their presentation. Once you know what time the presentation will be taking place, you're going to open the Teams app and navigate to the calendar page by clicking on the calendar icon in the left-hand menu. On the calendar page, you're going to go to the day that you're going to do this meeting. Let's say we're doing the meeting today, and you're just going to click on the time slot that you want to do the meeting in. And you can add the title for the meeting. I'm going to call this the Tejanos FTW project presentation, because that is the name of the group that we'll be presenting today. Then you can add required attendees. It's a good idea to add every student who's in the class as a required attendee. That way they will get an email inviting them to the meeting. However, the meeting will still be able to start even if they aren't actually attending. Once you've typed the name for everyone in the class at which you would like to attend the meeting, then you can set the date and time for the meeting. If you weren't able to click on the exact time that you wanted the meeting, or if you clicked on the wrong day or the wrong time, you can change it from this line right here. And then add a channel. So when you click in the add channel bar, it's going to open all the groups that you are, or all the teams that you are a part of. And you're going to pick the team for that class and then pick the general channel. It's going to post the invite to the meeting to that channel, and that way everybody who's in the team will have access to it. Then you can type some details, and I'll just say, please join us. And send, and it's going to create the meeting in your calendar and send invites to everybody who is listed as a required attendee. Alright, so it's added the meeting. Well, it's in the process of adding the meeting to my calendar. It has emailed everybody on the required attendees list about the meeting, and now I can go to my team that this meeting will be taking place in. And you see in the general channel where I posted that meeting to, it now has this link to the meeting. If I click here, it will take me to the meeting's detail page again, and I can click join to actually enter the meeting. And at first it gives me a preview of what I look like in my camera. I can toggle my camera on and off, my mic on and off. I can change what device I'm using for my mic, my speakers, and my camera if you have multiple devices. And I can choose a background if I like. By clicking this on, I can choose a generic room, a fancy background, or I can just blur out my existing background. And I put X. And then I will click join now to actually join the meeting. Okay, so right now only I am in the meeting, so I am occupying the entire screen. If other people are in the meeting, then the screen will divide into little boxes for each person who has their camera activated. And you have some basic controls on this bar here that will appear anytime you move your cursor. You can toggle your camera on and off. You can toggle your mic on and off. You can share the screen. Your students who are presenting will be using this to share the presentation with you. If you click the more actions here, the ... for more actions, more things come up. You can change your background here again. You can turn on live captions. That's a good idea so that you can have subtitles or captions for the meeting. So I'll just turn those on right now. And now it will be automatically adding captions for everything that I say. It may not be 100% accurate because it's just trying to recognize my speech, but it's pretty good. You can also start recording. It's a good idea to record these meetings for the presentations so that you will have something to refer to later. So I'll start recording right now. When you start recording, you want to announce to the students that you are recording them so everyone is aware of what's going on. And then those are the main features here that are necessary for us. If anyone has a question during the presentation, they can click to raise their hand, and we'll put a little icon next to their profile in the participants panel. So if you click show participants, it's going to open up a panel that has everybody who is currently in the meeting, which right now is just me. And it shows a little icon next to my name that my hand is raised. And I can lower my hand to remove it. If anybody is having an issue with their mic or they don't have a mic, they can also communicate by chatting. So if you click show conversation, it will open up this chat and you can chat. So I'll just share a couple of ways that your students would be able to show their presentation in this meeting by clicking the share button. So when you click the share button, it gives you all these different options for how to share. You could share your entire desktop. You could share a specific window that's open on your computer. You could share a recently opened PowerPoint file. If you use the whiteboard, you can draw and type, and you can click browse. You can browse for a file that's on your computer, on OneDrive, or in Teams. So I'll be showing you the Browse Teams method and the window sharing method. So we'll click Browse Teams here, and it's going to show you all the files that are in the general channel. That's not the channel that we would want. Your students would want to click the up button and find the folder for their group, in this case Tejanos FTW, and that's going to show the files that are available to share in that group's channel. So here's the presentation file, and I will click it and share it right now. Okay, so now I'm sharing this presentation with anyone else who would be in this meeting, and it gives me this little bar here that I can use to control it. So I can move forward or backward through the slides. I can also move through the slides just by clicking on the slide, but to move forward. Anybody else who is in this meeting can also move forward or backward through the slides at will by default. That doesn't change the slide that's showing for other people, only for them. So when you as the sharer change what slide is shown currently, that changes it for everyone unless someone is browsing through the slides on their own. So to prevent people from doing that as the sharer, you would need to click this little eyeball, and that prevents people from moving independently through the slides. So during the presentation, it could be good to have that clicked, and then at the end, when you're going to take questions or when your students are taking questions, you could click it again and let people move back to slides that they want to ask a question about. Then when your students are done presenting, they would click stop presenting to stop. Anybody else who is in this meeting is also going to have their own little bar that they could use to move through the slides if that feature is enabled for them. They can also take control or request control. So they should have a little button here. Instead of saying stop presenting, it would say either take control or request control. If they click that button, then they will be the one who is in control of the slides and able to move through the slides at will. So if you have one person who shared the presentation initially, maybe they would present their part of the presentation, and then one of their group members who needs to present the next part could take control of the slides, and then they would be able to advance through the slides on their own without any awkwardness requesting someone else to move the slide forward for them. You can always also take control back after you've given control away. So the other way to share that's good, I think, would be to share a window. In order to do that, the students would need to have the presentation already downloaded onto their computer. At least one, whoever's going to share it, needs to have the presentation downloaded on their computer and open as well. And then they would just find whichever window has the presentation. Okay, so this is basically that presentation open on my computer, but now in PowerPoint itself. So it's just normal PowerPoint where I can end the show and you see it's just PowerPoint. I'll click to begin that slideshow again. Okay, and I can click to move through the slides as normal, just regular PowerPoint. If I move my cursor up to the top of the screen, I will get this bar here that also allows me to give control to someone else. Right now when I click, nothing is there because there's no one else in this meeting with me, but if there were other students in the meeting, then I would be able to select a teammate to give control to so that now they would be able to move through the slides and present their part of the project. A final thing to note with presentations is that if students have files in their presentation, like audio or video files, and they need to play the audio, that's not going to happen automatically and be shared automatically. In order for that to work, you have to click the button, Include System Audio. So if you're sharing that in this way, you have that button right here. And if you're not sharing this way, there's another way to access that. So I'll stop presenting. And if I click Share again, here's that box again for Include System Audio. So I could check that if I know that I have some audio that needs to play as part of my presentation. Some final points to make about these presentations are that you'll want to make sure the students who are actually presented are highlighted in the video or in the meeting. So there's a couple ways to do that. One thing is that it's good to tell students who are not presenting to turn off their mics until it's time for questions maybe. That way stray sounds in their environment do not disrupt the presentation. Another thing you can do is instruct them to turn off their camera feeds. Anyone who has an active video feed will be prioritized in terms of which boxes are shown for which individuals in the meeting. And a third thing you can do is click to show participants. And right now I'm the only person in this meeting, but you can actually click on a person and pin them. So I actually am not able to do that to myself right now. But if there were others in this meeting with me, I could click by their icon in the People tab and pin them. And that would mean, and I can do it to multiple people as well, and that would mean that for me, their video feeds are always showing at the top. That's only for me though, so my students would not see that unless they also pinned the presenters to appear at the top always. So when you are finished with the presentation, you can click the More Actions ... and select Stop Recording to end the recording. The recording will also automatically end if everybody leaves the meeting. And then you can either hang up to leave the meeting, or under More Actions, you can end the meeting entirely. So if you just hang up, then the meeting will continue and any students who are still in there will be in the meeting still. If you end the meeting, then the meeting actually ends for everybody. So I'll click End here. Once you have ended the meeting, the recording you made is going to appear in that channel where you had posted the meeting, right under the meeting link. So here's the recording. It is still processing. So once it's finished processing, you will be able to view it right here in Microsoft Teams. It will be available here for 1 week. And you can also click the ... Right now there's not really extra options here because the recording is not finished processing yet, but once it is processed, then you would be able to click here and access more options about that recording. The recording is actually stored in Microsoft Stream, and it is linked to this this channel for 1 week. Alright, so I've just waited until this recording finished processing. So you can see now that it is appearing here. If I click it, it will begin playing. it will be loading it from Microsoft Stream, and it can play it. You want to announce to the students that you... Alrighty, so there's my video. You can also click this ... for more options. So you can share it here. You can also open it in Microsoft Stream, which is the actual location where it is being stored. And all right, so those are the basics of how to use Microsoft Teams to run these CCA presentations. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful.